either. Thanks.
Yeah, I gotta have a good old slurp.
I appreciate you accommodating that.
People love these people. Like, you need to be on it. Like, I went in the green room at Comedy Republic. Hey, I want to get some footage.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. Like, I have to be really active at the moment.
Come back.
I mean, we may as well start here of like,
why not?
I love to document. I love to get photos. I find myself having to be very deliberate with going, hey, if I'm doing like a fun show at Improv Conspiracy, hey, let's get a cast photo. It'll be fun to get a photo because like sometimes if it's a weekly show, it's like something that's not really thought about. But I have to be very like I'm thinking about those things.
Content.
I want to be able to show people that I did this show.
I want to be able to show people that I am successful. I actually don't care if I'm not successful. I just want to show people that I am. Look, here's a picture.
Yeah, but it is that. For me, the phrase is "look at me go." Look at me go is sort of like one of my mantra phrases.
Look at me go. Not look at her go. Look at me go.
It's look at me go, because that's what all social media is. It's like, look at me go. I did a show. Look at me go. I'm doing this. Look at me go. I ate an ice cream.
Okay, well, I don't think look at me go is the ice cream. I think that's going, oh no.
No, but it's like, oh, good. Marcel also has time to enjoy the finer things. He's just like us.
It hasn't got to him yet. Okay. He's going for it.
I mean, I've been sitting, like, people have talked to me. They've booked me in. People, I don't want to brag, but people have talked to me. But people will seek my advice on how to get gigs when they're starting out as a comedian. And for me, I talk to them about, essentially, Instagram has become a curriculum vitae.
Can I tell you, Instagram, this is my hot take on Instagram, because people come to me and they say, Kate, what is your hot take on Instagram? And I go, well, look, usually...
And people talk to you?
Yeah, people talk to... No, people scream at me. Okay. People talk to you. So they go, what's your hot take on Instagram? It's your own TV channel if you want it to be, Dal.
Oh,
so what I'm saying is I'm on the network. I'm on the network.
And you're getting more views than some network TV shows.
Yes, bitch.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've ever said yes, bitch. I don't think I've ever called you a bitch.
It's the effect of the Comedy Writers Group podcast.
That felt right.
You're sitting in the same chair as Eloise Eftos and just borrowing a little bit of that energy. Silly.
I love her.
So I am recommending and reminding that, like, it is a shorthand CV, and that isn't just, I got to get videos up there. Almost sometimes videos can do new comedians a disservice if the video isn't good.
Say it again. Louder for those in the back.
You feel the same way that sometimes there's terrible content being put up?
I feel the same. I feel that I do that.
Oh, really?
I feel like everyone's doing that. I feel like
you put up great stuff.
Thanks.
But also, like, you've also carved out a niche for yourself and also a certain vibe that it's like, all right, I'm going to continue putting, like, people are responding to it.
True.
So it's different to putting stuff out there people aren't responding to and continuing to put it out there despite. You're putting it out there. You're making some points and I feel like we should write them down. We should do a manifesto. Well, they are being recorded. Oh my God. And then these websites, they have like AI technology and they can like do
let's
transcripts.
Write it down. Can I say? I think you're right. How deliberate are you being with what you put on socials in terms of attracting opportunities? That's the problem. You don't think you're being deliberate? I'm trying so hard. Just so everybody knows. And it shows. I am fucking trying so hard. I think I've gotten to a point where I'm like, had this conversation with my podcast co-host. Sorry to drop a name. Danielle Walker. Because you do other podcasts. I do other podcasts. Okay, guys. So don't get jealous. Just if you want me, I'm there. We were talking about how, look, I feel like in this day and age, to become a comedian with a wider audience, or people can find you, you know, because here's another thing I'm going to drop on the mic. I've been watching these Netflix specials. I watch a lot of comedy. I love it. I'm obsessed. I love comedy, right? There is a point where the difference between people I'm gigging with regularly are at a level are sometimes, if not the same, sometimes better than people who
get big opportunities. So the difference is just the break. That's, and that's showbiz, babe.
And packaging as well. Like how has this been packaged up? How has this been delivered?
Yeah.
And are they walking a certain walk?
But like, I'm watching some stuff and I'm like, yeah, like it's good, but it's no like if you when you come down for the festival in Melbourne, like you're going to see shows at the same quality. They just haven't been produced with hundreds of thousands of dollars behind them,
and when people in the Kate Dolan comment section are saying, "Let me know when your Netflix special comes out,"
bitch, let me know. Let me know. Someone. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, Channel 4, tagging Channel 4, tagging." I'm not tag them. Can I say?
And that's an
if
endorsement.
You see my content and you think it should be on the TV, tag them. Tag them. They're scared.
But you are also someone that is battling the algorithm. In that I've seen you get hundreds of thousands of views on some things, and then sometimes I go like, why has this only got 24 likes on it? Well, this is just as funny.
I think that's when you have to let go, because I think there is something to be said for people who are really dedicated to social media and marketing. I'm not that person.
It's a full-time and then some job.
Yeah, because you have to like look into like statistics and how like things I used to cry in maths. Like that is really not my bag. I'm not doing that. I will not be looking into that, unfortunately. Actually, if that was make or break for me, if someone was like, you have to spend a week looking at how to do social media properly through analytics, I'd say just kill me. I'd say I'm actually fine to end it now. I don't even need to be a comedian. Actually, I don't even need to be alive if this is the choice.
And in the hypothetical, it wasn't even a life or death situation.
Yeah,
so just like spend a week doing this, like kill me. Like,
spend a week doing this, or just do your normal job. And I'm like, just kill me. By giving me that choice, I want to be dead.
I feel similarly as well. There are just some times when you go, oh, okay, I'll do a little bit of that research of seeing how it's supposed to be done, and I'll get 30 seconds into a video and go, oh, this is too much.
I'm not doing it.
Because also it feels like those board games where there's 101 rules, and if you do X, then you got to do Y.
At this time,
blood sacrifices and pentagrams.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So but just to bring it back to your original point, sometimes I am putting stuff up that I'm like, oh, I don't really know about this, but like it gets a laugh. And sometimes I am just like, you do need to just whack things up sometimes, because if I were to be waiting for everything to be perfect, I'd never put anything
That's a challenge that I'm on at the moment. And like there's a bit of baggage that I have with it. Some of it is, I bought this new microphone. I should use it if I'm going to shoot another video. And then I'll go, I don't have that microphone, or I'm overthinking the script or whatever. And then it just doesn't happen. And I go, I just need to shoot it. So how deliberate are you in terms of how much you want to be putting out there on a regular basis?
I want to be putting out 2 things a week minimum. But that doesn't include, then I have to like take into account, I also do the podcast. I don't put the podcast content on my page because I feel like that's separate to me. I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe if we will be bringing a second season to the air soon, and that's going to take a slightly different direction. If I feel like that aligns more, then I might start sharing stuff on my socials. But
what about the little boost you get from the collab?
Well, we wanted to just build the podcast up on its own, and by doing that, posting the clips from the podcast regularly. But I don't want my own feed to be just filled up with podcast clips.
Yeah, I totally get you on that, because I want the listener to hear this as well, in terms of what my experience has been, as well as that it is tempting to do the overlap and share stuff on your own page. But then what I'm finding with my own stuff is I'm putting out more informative stuff of here's some stuff behind the scenes, but then less here's Marcel being funny.
Yeah.
And that's got to be my main thing if I want it to be my main thing.
What I'm trying to pivot into a bit more, which is I think as well sometimes where you can see I get like a drop off of views, is my stand-up clips, because stand-up is my true one passion and my love in my life, and I fucking love stand-up comedy.
If you're listening, Kate loves you. Stand-up. Come back.
Love me back. Please. Please. And
you get a drop off on the stand-up clips, or you get a drop off on non-stand-up?
I want to be doing more. I want to be putting at least one stand-up clip on a week. So sometimes the quality, and I'm not saying the quality of me, because the quality of me is always high, but sometimes the quality of the clip is not going to be that high. But what I'm seeing on other people's content is they can still go off. So I'm just going to take the chance. And you know what? If then in a week or 2 weeks I'm like, oh, cringe, I can delete it.
Yeah.
And no one died apart from...
I think that's a nice reminder too, to remind people that they can go back and delete stuff, because a room runner is looking at this stuff. A room runner is going, oh, is that
and you might think,
I
just put something up this week, it doesn't really go. Like, I actually did a sketch ages ago now, probably 18 months ago, about somebody who works in the post office. And I think it's one of the funniest things I've ever done. But weirdly, something must have happened when I filmed it. It's not very good quality. And I'm like, I'm going to reshoot that sketch.
Yeah, right.
Because it's really funny and it could be better.
And it's just not up to the standard that you'd like.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I'm going to start doing more, we discussed before I got on, I want to start doing more YouTube, behind the scenes, like how things come about or what a week looks like, because I find that stuff really interesting. But that's because I'm obsessed with myself and also comedy.
But it's also because people like to hear about that sort of stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
That's
but they want to be part of the Kate Dolan brand and experience.
What I think people really like, they would like to see, me sort of pottering about, like a Big Brother live, 24-hour live stream, but just of me.
They want to be in your company.
Hopefully.
They want to hang out.
Well, so that's it really on the socials, just trying to be consistent. I forgot what I was going to say. The main thing that I was going to say is to widen your audience. Social media is still like a really, what is it when it's like, what's the word? When it's like a really valid way to still build an audience in this economy.
Valid's a good word.
Whatever, it probably wasn't the word. But I don't want to rely on someone giving me a chance. I'd love to be given a chance. I'd love for someone to come along and go, I'm going to make you a star.
Yeah,
and then
this is what ABBA was keen on as well.
Yeah, me and ABBA. Because actually I base my whole sort of entertainment model off ABBA.
Which is why you often stand looking away from the audience and then looking towards the audience.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm also Swedish.
You wouldn't tell from the accent.
Well, that's... nah.
Okay, it's been a year since you've been on the podcast. Last time we talked,
you haven't let me finish my single point that I've been trying to make.
That's me being a man on a podcast. But also, I pick up threads. Don't you think? You've listened to this show. I'm a thread picker upper.
Let me just finish this point.
Okay, can I finish? Yes, you can finish.
Thank you so much. Thanks for giving me the space to do that. All I wanted to say, the whole long and short of that is I don't want to rely on someone else having power over my success.
Like who? Like a TV channel or a producer or something?
I'll finish the point and then I reckon I'll cover all bases.
I was being encouraging.
I don't need encouragement. I've got the fully formed thought.
This is the same person who said that you forgot a word before.
Yeah, okay? But I've got a point.
Prove it.
I actually don't want to anymore. Okay.
I respect that. Well, let's come back to it at the end. It could be like it could be something we return to.
No, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to hear my point, get in touch with me directly.
I feel a little bit bad now.
Well, good. I don't feel bad. I feel like
you're about to sleep over at my house as my guest for the week, and I don't need a gloomy cloud hanging over your stay the entire time. I want to have sleepover vibes where we talk about boys and we D&M and stuff, and I don't need to have this bad juju over my head.
This sounds like something that's being held in yourself.
Yeah, it's a me problem.
My sky is blue.
Yeah. My heart is blue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should talk to somebody about that and see if you can get the whole story out.
So you don't want producers or other people to be in control of...
No.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to... I'd like it if somebody came along and was like, here you go. Mm-hmm. Here's a walkway to success. Not that it ever happens like that, but like TV opportunities. You like Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Exactly like Bradley Cooper. I want to make sure that I am doing everything in my power to make myself successful.
Mm-hmm.
I am in charge of my own destiny, and I am in charge of getting my point to the finishing line.
For the listener, Kate is looking into a mirror right now. She's brought out a hand mirror and she's saying it to her face.
You fat bastard, you wait all their pies.
Troll in the bathroom.
Do you feel better?
I do feel better.
Good. Cheers to that.
Clink. Listener, we're actually best friends, okay?
Yeah, we are. I wouldn't
Imagine being that
If I was giving this much flack to every man who didn't let me finish a sentence, oh my God, there would be nothing else to talk about.
That's also the challenge I have, like, with my brain, and also like interview brain is like, oh, cool, I'm picking up threads and doing this, but yeah, recognizing, I also don't want to be a butthead. I
wasn't being serious at any point.
I want to talk about that idea of control. You've identified as a control freak, and I very much, almost to my detriment, I love being in control so much that I don't think I hustle as hard as I could. In that, like, some people will tell me about, I rang up so-and-so to grab a coffee and talk about opportunities in this field. And I'm like, I would never do that because I'm too busy trying to, like, carve out my own door to go through.
You are preaching to the choir.
But there's so much wisdom in, and also there are roles set up where people are sitting by their inbox to go, I hope someone emails me to tell me that they've got a cool idea for a thing that they want to share with me.
Well, I also believe that absolutely everybody hates me.
Right.
That's something to be said. I also do believe that.
And this is now a call-in show. So if you do want to call in right now and tell Kate how much you loathe her company.
Please, because you know what that will do? Validate my thoughts. And then I'll be right.
Where do you feel that stems from? Is that at your core?
Can I tell you, I actually do think it was a core memory. Let me take you back.
Great. Let's go back.
Covington Primary School, C of E, Church of England.
Can I have like a song in the background, like so I know what era it is?
Okay.
Hey.
I said, hey boy, sitting in your tree. You know, I really say I look like my dad.
Let's pretend that sort of is continuing under.
I am at primary school. Bearing in mind, child star. Okay. I've always had joie de vivre. I've always had a sprinkle of pizzazz. There was an opportunity for my primary school, very small village school, to have a concert at the local theatre, a fairly sizable theatre in the local town.
What was it called?
The Spa Centre.
The Spa Centre.
Yeah, Royal Spa Centre. And there was going to be 2 lead vocalists singing.
Wow.
And I auditioned for the part, and so did my best friend Faye.
Oh no.
She's always been a good singer, but I'm not dreadful. I'm not the best, but I've got enough to sell it.
And you've got that aforementioned pizzazz.
I have the pizzazz, Marcel. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I think I do a great job. I'm a confident child.
Do you remember what song you sung?
No. It probably was Anastasia. I'm not going to lie.
I'm in love.
Yeah. Set me free. See, I mean, I wasn't that mature at the time, but the pizzazz was still there. We're all gathered in the hall for the announcement of who the lead vocalists are going to be. There was another girl in my year called Katie Quantrill.
With a Q?
Yeah. And she had joined the school a bit later anyway. She was Katie and I was Kate. It was quite clear. My name is just Kate. I'm not a Catherine, just Kate. Her name is Katie. And the teacher does the rumble in the jungle, brap, brap, brap. Everybody.
She's going to announce.
She's going to announce in front of the whole school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, these are the people who we've chosen to be the vocalists. Faye and Kate. I get up screaming.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah, joyous, like jumping around.
Oh, my goodness.
And this
because I'm going to make a prediction here.
Why didn't you let me finish the story?
Because I want to participate, that's why.
Okay, go.
I reckon that they mean the other person. I reckon you've been a...
That's because I set it up. This is like when an audience member says your punchline. Yes, bitch, it's
coming. I know, I'm being cheeky. I'm a cheeky boy.
There you are.
Yeah. So it was the other person.
Yeah, that's it.
Wait, so this bitch...
Yeah, she had the gall... to, in front of everyone, say, no, it's not you, it's Katie.
The teacher?
Yes.
Wow. When she should own that. Like, she should
when she should have been like, oh,
because how old are you?
Like 10.
You don't look 10. Yeah, of a 10, yeah. So a 10-year-old thinking that they won the thing, you should go, all right, you're part of it too. I bet we could add a third.
She's fine.
Yeah.
And this is because I do believe she didn't like me.
Interesting.
And I do think that that's where it's all stemmed from. And now I just believe that people would rather pick Katie over Kate.
How's she done?
No idea. Because I killed her.
She did.
She did. She did in the ground, and I sang my solo.
But there are situations where when a Quantrill takes your job and you're like, oh, what if I had that the amount of fight that put in you to prove yourself can then make you...
I'm never giving up.
Yeah. Versus Quantrill, she probably peaked at that concert at the Spa Bath Theatre, and that was that.
I'm living in the land of delusion and I will never stop. So may as well just sort me out now because it will quieten me quicker.
But we all need to be with a healthy dose of delusion. Otherwise, why would you do any of this stuff if you weren't deluded to think that it would lead to this and would lead to the next thing and then lead to the next? And also you're proven. And like a lot of people, you're the Comedy Writers Group Comedian of the Year 2024.
Can I say thank you so much to everyone who voted.
There's a lot of people that put you as like their favorite special and thank lovely. You and favorite live event. And they could have chosen from anybody.
Do you know what my own bias is, I think? I believe that I'm an everyman. I believe that boots on the ground do like me and do see my talent and skill. And I believe higher ups, this is all unfounded. This is all conspiracy. They just want to overlook. Why? No one has ever given me that impression. It's something that I carry within myself.
Yeah, that they don't want to piece me because like I think maybe the delusion we ought to maybe carry into that world of because we have to be deluded to think people want to see this video, people want to come to my show.
Yeah.
But for some reason for me, I'll speak of my own experience, I don't carry that delusion to the manager at this thing or the person who's in charge of this TV show would want to hear from me about my ideas, which is odd. For me, it's a fear of rejection. Like even though I think I might have something to offer, if I have that conversation with someone who is a wheeler and dealer, someone who is in control of something, and they say, no, thank you, then that feels ultimate. Yeah,
and like I would never, and then I would be the type of person like, if someone doesn't respond to my email, I'll never email you again.
Yeah.
I've actually blocked you and deleted you from life.
Even though I'm like, I complained about that Domino's pizza. They didn't get back to me. I'm like, well, Domino's, that's it.
They're just, I think I want to start doing a bit of rejection immersion therapy where
it's very trendy at the moment.
What you said though, to lead into this, I could not relate more when you're like, I don't do that enough. I don't do that. I'm like, I'm a hustle. Who have you emailed? Who have you called? It's because I'm scared.
I'm terrified.
I'm scared to be told or to feel like it's not good enough. When I mean that self-belief where I'm like, it is good enough, you just don't get it or you just don't see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not me, it's you.
And that this person isn't as ultimate as we may see them. The amount of tickets I was chatting to someone about their screenplay recently, a friend of mine who has an opportunity with some producers and they're looking over his script and it feels like a big thing. And he's saying to me like, oh, you know, it's getting to a point where they might see about whether they could option it and it could be a sellable thing or it won't be. And he's feeling like that could be a devastating situation to be met with this opportunity for them to turn around and go, you know what, it didn't work out. No, thank you. And I was saying to him advice that I want to take on board because it's so much better to give advice to others than to take it ourselves, which was if you are in the screenwriting industry, your job is to be creating multiple pieces of work and you're never back to square one. You've got that relationship now. They believe in you. They know that you are someone that has the potential to make stuff.
Because here's the other thing. I think I'm never going to have another funny thought in my life. I think this is it. Okay, well, I did my show. So if you didn't like it then, I have got nothing more. That's not true. That's not true.
I bet you could say something funny right now. Go say something funny.
I'd love to, but I'm just afraid that I wouldn't be able to get to the end of it and then we wouldn't have the joke there.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to interrupt. I thought we were doing this double act kind of thing. And then you let me finish when I had nothing to say.
You slithered that piece of paper across the table and I didn't read it in time. Yeah.
No, but I do. I exactly understand what you're saying.
But can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you? Because I am excited about this idea that I don't want to drop because I know that the listener is going like, Kate Dolan, you're so funny. Like you're so great. You're so this, you're so that.
Yeah.
So how do you manage hearing that praise versus what's inside of you of like, oh, I don't think I'll ever have a funny thought again. How do you live in both of those realities?
Yeah, it's just the two wolves, isn't it? You know, like some days I'm like, I'm the best to ever do it. And some days I'm like, you're so, what has this all been for? You know?
Are you good at feeding the right wolf?
Yeah.
Or they look the same, so you're like, oh, wait, hold on, which one did I feed already? Like, because some dogs, they'll go, oh, I haven't been fed.
Yeah. Well, that's how I've gotten to my current state. Because I'm a little bit chonkier than I have been previously.
Feeding the wolves is not a diet thing, okay? Just for the listeners.
Oh, because when I'm hearing one of them, I'm definitely eating more.
Yeah, that's true. There's something in there. Look, you said a funny thing.
Yes.
Yes, we're back. Yes. Let's hope.
Yeah, I am. I do believe in myself quite fiercely.
I do too, because I think sometimes when we can talk negatively about ourselves or that self-critic, the inner critic speaks loudly, there are people, what I don't like is the person who then denies that feeling, because that's what I'm sort of talking to that listener who's going like, oh, Kate and Marcel are crazy for thinking less of themselves. It's not that. It's I'm quite honest with myself that I think I have a lot to offer and that I'm destined for great things, but I still feel the inner child there. Like my inner child is still there, similar to yours, who's going, I've just entertained 1,000 people on Roadshow and that was so great, but I want someone from the cast or the crew to go, hey Marcel, you did a good job, you're right where you're supposed to be. And if I don't hear that, I go, oh, I still would like a little bit of that. I'd still like to, I'm still looking for someone off stage to go, hey, you're special. Because I think I'm special. And it's nice to be reminded of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think my frustration is that I believe that I am very talented. And my frustration is sometimes I feel like other people don't see that. And you can't force them to or even take notice of you. But I don't have control over anybody else. And that's what I always come back to. And like I'll always be me, and I have everything within me to succeed. That's what I'm saying. Like regardless of who gives me the pat on the back and who says you got it, I know I do, and I'm not going to rely on that. Like I don't want to rely on the external validation to propel me. I want to know, and I do know that I have everything. It's just a case of, like widening your audience. And also the reality is like making this like a livable career.
Yeah.
It's all well and good being like every, people listening and saying this and that. But like, I'm still at the stage of my career where I'm investing more money in this than I'm making. So it feels a bit frustrating because you think, but the only way to make more money is to widen my audience base, play bigger venues, get bigger opportunities. And that's not all in my control.
Yeah.
And so that's what then I start to find frustrating because I think, well, how and when do I get to the next level? But everything that I have to remember is you can only do what's in your control. And as long as you're doing everything you can, then those things will come.
And it's similar too to when one goes, oh, you've got this many views on that thing, you must be wrapped, like you've made it. And you're like, no, I can tell you the number on my bank account at the moment. So
well, we also don't live in a monetized country for social media. So there are comedians and creators on TikTok in the US and the UK who can make money off that. That's what's kind of frustrating as well, is you feel like you're just, I am literally just making content to try and get people to come to live.
Yeah.
So I'm not making any money.
And that's also an investment in itself of like how much money can I put into marketing to sell more tickets.
I don't want to do brand collabs. This is not for me. Like I don't want to start making content that then like benefits a brand unless it were to be totally organic. Like on the podcast, we talk about being like Pilates princesses and we're using ClassPass. Okay, so if ClassPass were to be like, we'll sponsor you if you do an ad, great. I use that product, it comes in organically. But if someone to be like, whoa, we need you to do a sketch where you're a mum and you're doing the washing, like absolutely shoot me in the head then.
What makes you so adamant about that?
It just doesn't feel authentic to me. Like it just, and I know like we've all got to earn money, but I'd rather have a part-time job. I'd rather earn money through a job than have to turn my creativity into like something that I don't back just for money. I can earn money. And the creative thing is what's sacred to me.
Because we haven't caught up on the pod in about a year. I thought it'd be nice to track how has the previous 12 months been, and before we look ahead to what's coming up.
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's
what's made it so crazy? So crazy with a K?
Crazy with a K. When did we speak before I started?
Well, it was about January because Eleanor reminded me that, we were still like setting up the house when you came to stay.
True. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Okay. So.
And once again, Eleanor is nowhere to be seen. Anyway, I'm fine.
She really is slinking off, isn't she? She's
very popular.
Right,
she's in demand.
She really is in demand.
My successful wife.
I did loads last year. I'm going to do a little burp. That's what happens when I start to talk about things. I wouldn't say that was little,
not little.
But I will
Reminded
say.
Me of my dear friend Miriam Margulies, who I was once talking to.
Woman.
She stopped an anecdote and said, "I'm going to fart," and then she farted, and then she continued the anecdote. So there's a bit of Miriam in every woman.
Every woman.
Every woman. A little bit of snot came out.
I found that really funny.
So
I went to Adelaide.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me be honest.
I do want to just put a pin in that for just a moment to go. When someone said, "Well, it was a big year, a very exciting year for me,"
Adelaide.
And then I went to Adelaide. Being the start is great.
Well, what I want to be, I'd love to be transparent with the listeners.
Where did Kate go?
She's a skinny little thing. I'm the tiniest, as we all know anyway, I am the tiniest, slinkiest, most translucent girl on the market. I am always so interested in like the reality of people's. So I'm going to be really honest. Please. I went to Adelaide. I stayed with a friend's grandparents, so I didn't have to pay accommodation. But obviously you have to do flights marketing. And I was self-producing at this point. I was playing a 20-seat venue, but in a very reputable club. So I was very happy about that. But my time slot was at 5:45 p.m., which some had said, don't bother going. I did say to you at the time, beggars can't be choosers. I've got to get my foot in the door. To
and I didn't say
you
don't bother.
No, you didn't say it.
My rule, just for first time listeners or people who haven't listened to everything I've ever said out of my mouth, is if you're going to do an unpopular time slot like 5:45 or 10:30, then you just have to be prepared to like play to that particular crowd. Correct. And market your show accordingly.
Correct. And be realistic. I had to cancel one show, which I wouldn't have cancelled. I had 2 tickets sold. I would have happily have done the show had they wanted to, but they didn't show up. So I went and watched some circus acts and I felt great. I had a great time. I actually really enjoyed Adelaide. But yeah, I was doing shows to 6 people, 8 people. They're some of the best shows that I've done. I really think you can't judge a show on the crowd size. Do I want to be playing theatres one day? Yeah. But let's be honest, you've got to start somewhere. No one knows who I am. And
you got some good things out of that Adelaide trip.
I won an award. So I made money because you got some cash with the award.
Which is so nice. Not every award comes with cash.
It's so nice because it really was like, okay, I've like broken even here. And I sold out my very last night there, which really, again, gave me perspective because that was one of my least favorite shows. I had a massive, can I swear? Cunt in the front row.
Oh yes, I remember debriefing about this. We went to a nice dinner afterwards.
She really rattled me and she really derailed the show. And your advice has stayed with me that should something like that happen again, address it in the time and then reset and start the show again, because I felt like I made jokes about it all the way through and people were on my team, but I was carrying that energy, particularly into the first third. And I should have been like, right, now we're on the same page. Can I do the show? You know? So I did Adelaide and then I signed with a management company I met them in Adelaide. They came to see me perform on one of the showcase lineups. So they didn't even this person didn't come to the full show, but they sent someone from the company to come to the full show. They saw me do 10 minutes. That I absolutely annihilated. Thank God.
Which is great. Yeah. And you never know what might be a great moment. And this is where that L word comes into it of luck it was a great show. Yeah. They happened to, like, you invited them, but they happened to come to that particular one and see it. And, stars aligned.
I had been recommended by other clients of theirs for them to keep an eye out. That's just another,
You've been endorsed.
I would like to know as a listener, like how, because they don't like a lot of management, they're very busy. They don't reply to everyone. This person actually reached out to me. I hadn't reached out to management at this point. It wasn't something I was looking for. I've had acting management in the past that I hadn't really enjoyed, and I was all set out to be self-produced. Also in Adelaide, the booker from the assembly venues came to my show on the very last night. Edinburgh. Great venue, big deal, worst show. And I thought, this is, okay, no worries, chuck me off a cliff.
This is not a proper demonstration of my talent.
But Nick, my partner, always likes to remind me that these people are professionals in their realm and they can see past a bad crowd and they can see past a small venue. Like they should be able to see the potential in the act.
And if you can't see past the crowd, like, change seats because... Maybe you just got a bad view,
So when I'm trying to be serious, it's time for silly sausages.
It's time for silly sausages.
But when I'm being silly sausages, you're finding the threads. To bring me back.
Yes, it's called having a nice double act going on, which I love. I love that and were you able to absorb, like, because in the moment when you're having this difficult show and going, there's a lot riding on this. Even a week later, a month later, when it was in the rear view, were you able to have some of that advice come in and see a bit of perspective? Like Adelaide was worthwhile?
Adelaide was so worthwhile. That's why I'm going back
and also I want to highlight little things as well of, like, because I was doing my show, The Newlyweds, down the hall at 6:15, so I'd see people come into your show, and they were just like cool comedy people coming to see your show as well. And like, it's little things like that when people go, oh, don't even bother going to a 5:45 showing. Like, it's little things, and some things that you can't plan for. You didn't plan that management was going to come see it. You didn't plan that Edinburgh was going to come see it. You didn't plan that even like people like Peter James from Brisbane, oh, I'm going to go come check out this show because I've heard good things about Kate, and then you can get booked in Brisbane and do good chat. Correct. Like, it's little things.
I feel like the best thing I learn is and I do feel like I do this, I always give 100%, doesn't matter who's there. Mm-hmm. I will do this show as if you are the most important people in the world, because you chose to come. So why would I not give you the same show that I would give a full house? Like, you're the ones who are here tonight.
And you might hold a little bit of sway in casting you in that end of year singing concert.
So then this also is so crazy. When I was in Edinburgh, my first show, I had 7 people in a 70-seater. And
that's half full, if you think about it.
Okay, now I'm crying at maths, but how does that work?
Because 70 is 70.
Oh, so
half of 70 is
full,
7.
Actually, because 0 is 0, so it's actually full.
Yeah, it's perspective.
I was giving it my all, like absolutely gunning it, just doing my best. And one of the people in there, her partner is a very, very successful entertainment lawyer in New York City.
Yeah, right.
And she connected us after the show, and he has been absolutely unbelievable. An unbelievable person to have this year in particular, because of some things else that happened.
Swings and roundabouts.
But that's 7 people, and that's, one person who's gone, here's a connection that potentially could change your life, you know. You have to just always be giving as best as you can. The only time I ever think I've bombed is when I don't think I'm trying, or I don't feel prepared, or I didn't really give it everything.
And I hope people hear this because there's inevitably going to be times in the listener's future where they are backstage asking front of house, how many have I got in? And we've only got 4. And going, how much of that energy am I going to carry on stage with me? And not knowing what that potential, who's around, in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I really am a believer if those people have paid, they've made the effort, they've come to see you, you better give them the show. Then I did Melbourne. Yeah. Melbourne was fine. I got quite sick during Melbourne.
Yes, I recall.
Yeah, and I think that really did change the way that I felt about it. I enjoyed it. I didn't really feel like my venue was great for me. And I was I felt like I was restructuring the show, and I had lost it, and it wasn't where I wanted it to be. And so that was very painful, because I didn't think the show was good. And I stand by that. I'm not being self-deprecating.
And it's a reminder too about, even though the show was award-winning in Adelaide, that you still felt like the show had room to grow and adjust 100%. And play with.
And it changed so much over the year. When I got to Edinburgh, it was still changing. I was still changing it. And we sort of came out of Edinburgh, and I filmed it and I self-produced, filmed it.
I should save the burp edit just for the Patreon members. Get a special treat.
You should. A special treat. You paid for that. I think I've got indigestion.
Okay. You need to go to the bathroom?
No. You can't do anything for indigestion.
I don't know, you can rub your tummy.
Yeah. I self-produced.
Let the listeners know that she just rubbed her upper rib cage area.
I think it's called my chest.
Well, I don't know what I wanted to say. I thought chest might have connotations.
Breasts. I would call my breasts, and my chest. But I didn't. I was nowhere near my breasts.
I would call my chest.
My breasts are near my hips.
My breast.
So we've got no problem to be near the chest.
And the hips, don't lie.
But they do crack. I self-produced a special, and at that point I was like really happy with the show. And I felt like had I not gone through the pain of the restructure and having to do it and it not be where I wanted it in front of people every night, it would never have got to that. Sometimes it's like there's, you know, to grow, you need to have discomfort.
You got to run it in.
If I'd have kept it like it was in Adelaide, it would have been fine. I don't want to be fine. I want to be unbelievable. I want to be undeniable. I want to be the best I can be.
But what I was also recognizing within that period was also like, Kate's leveling up as well. Like you were becoming even more of a silly Billy than ever. I felt like, you know, like Mary once sung about, the shackles off your feet were coming off, and that you were just becoming more of a fuller self. There was a chrysalis being shed and a new Kate emerging, and that new Kate was going, this show isn't exactly what I need it to be to fully resonate with new Kate.
And last year we spoke about how I was going to be talking about really serious stuff. And over the year, I shed a lot of that. And I felt like, who do I owe this to?
And what motivated the shedding?
That it just didn't feel, again, like, it didn't feel right to, it just wasn't, I wasn't enjoying myself. And like, it's stand-up comedy at the end of the day. Like, it is meant to be funny. I think you can talk about anything under the sun as long as you can make it funny. And there were some things that I was not enjoying doing and I couldn't find the funny, and I just thought, who do you owe this to? You know, so I do talk about my mum in it, but you know, I totally undermined how I really feel because it's comedy. You know, so I did like a charity voiceover about like me doing this show about my mum for attention. Obviously that's not true, but it's funny, you know.
And I think it's worth noting too, because when you do multiple versions of a show, I found this, that I've gone, I've gotten that version out of my system. And that was the more sentimental version where I go, okay, that was really nice to be on stage and give a shout out to my mother or whomever I've sort of been sentimental about. And then I might reduce that a little bit to be more harmonious with the rest of the show. And I think that makes sense too.
But it was just like a whole year of like learning and like who I want to be. And I do think as well, you're so much easier to back yourself if you really think what you're doing is funny and good, you know, because then it's like, even if the crowd aren't getting on board, I don't have doubt. And then they usually come around because they trust me because I trust me. So yeah, it was like a lot of live shows. Like I think I clocked up maybe over 60 or 70, maybe 70 live shows, full hours.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And
can we track the management relationship of having it and then what happened next?
So I joined a management company in February. That
was the Bradley Cooper moment of like, hey, let me look after you.
Well, yeah, but then also this is the other thing for a listener to know is when I was self-producing Adelaide, I knew exactly who was being contacted because I was doing everything. So I was contacting reviewers, media people, and they did get the person from Edinburgh to come to the show. So they did that. But when we went to Melbourne, I felt like they had a lot on their plate. All of their acts were at Melbourne, not all of their acts were in Adelaide. And I was new, and I guess they wanted to like get the ball rolling with me quickly. And I felt like the ball dropped dramatically.
And there's a lot of trust you're putting in that things are being done.
Whereas I felt like if I were in charge, I would be doing a lot more for myself. And I had this conversation with them, you know, I just need to know what's being done, what's not being done, I will do. But if there's not the conversation or the transparency, I don't know what is and isn't being done. So that was one frustration in Melbourne as well. However, then this management company did make it possible for me to go to Edinburgh because they funded the trip. I made no money from the ticket sales. That all got reabsorbed.
They take the risk, but they also will absorb those costs back. Like you hear about like boy band contracts where it's like, all right, we'll put this one on the bill.
Yeah. So that was possible. And I also shot a sketch series.
I was nervous about where that was going.
I shot
a child in the.
I didn't want to talk about that.
Oh, sorry. We can cut this. We can cut this part.
Please.
But you also shot a
sketch, like a YouTube. Well, in my mind, it's for YouTube, but we can see what we can do with it. Shot 10 episodes of that.
And they bankrolled that?
Yeah. Like, again, obviously, I didn't earn any money from it. And actually, many people were doing it for mates rates, reduced rates, or nothing. So it was a real, by the boots, by the straps of our boots. And that was really good. Then when we went to Edinburgh, obviously it was an amazing experience. But I was starting to feel again, like similarly to in Melbourne, like we're here, but who are we hustling for? Why are we here?
Starting to see a few cracks. Now I have a crossover period here that a UK management company came to the show. But from me, this was something that I wanted before. Like I had this conversation. This was a mutual decision between me and the management company here that this would be a good idea. Sort of like a Mr. Darcy type coming into the picture and you're like, oh no, 2 suitors.
No, it was like a threesome.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be a spit roast that was agreed and consented by all parties.
Austen book.
Yeah. The roast.
The importance of being spit roasted.
Yeah. And it is important, actually. It's more important than people first think. And we should bring it back, I think. We should bring the spit roast back, if possible. And I think we should bring it back into Bridgerton. I think that would be where we would introduce it, and then it would sort of get into popular culture.
Yeah, maybe one of the spin-off series.
One of the...
because they had their Bridgerton and they had like the spin-off for Bridgerton. Yeah. I think they can commit a whole series to it.
I think we should have it in the main...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, otherwise no one's going to watch it.
Yeah, well, maybe email them. Part of your rejection therapy, email.
And that will be. The thing is, I want to be rejected. I don't want them to be celebrating my ideas.
That's true. So another suitor comes along,
and they're gonna co-sign. That's the conversation.
To have a UK agent and an Australian agent.
Yeah. And then after Edinburgh, there was a conversation that we were going to film my show properly, and we started planning it like up to the last hour, I would never have thought, even though obviously there would be questions around finances, the company went bankrupt. Just over a week out from my taping. I also have a screen acting agent here that we share, and earlier in the year I booked a big advert, which meant I had some money aside, which allowed me to complete the taping.
Because suddenly you were realizing, I'm going to have
for everything.
Back to me.
Yeah.
Listener, are you tracing the theme of this episode?
You can't rely on anyone. You really can't. And that's not, and now this is something else I am saying to remind myself. I'm still jumping into this relationship with my UK agent with both feet in, and I'm trying not to carry like trust issues, but I still won't rely on them to bring me success. I hope they support me in finding success. And I do expect them to be able to open doors that I can't on my own, but I'm not going to sit back and relax. That's what that is one major thing that I've learned, is that I can still email people, even if you're the second, the second point of contact.
And even if it hurts your dainty little fingers.
Yeah. Which it does, because it's actually really hard.
Yeah, you call an email manual labor.
I do. Yeah. I do. I've been saying that for years. I have.
And when I hear you typing away, you go, ow, 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 ow.
Oh, no, that's actually me just singing Shakira.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those hips that are ceasing to lie. I want to highlight with that idea is that it's also just like a relationship thing, because it has similar analogy to, you know how people like are seeking a romantic partner in the hope that they'll solve all their problems, that they will be everything. And if you can't be self-sufficient in your own happiness, then that partner is never going to solve all those things.
In the words of RuPaul.
If you can't love yourself, how the heck are you going to love somebody else?
He says hell.
Oh, I'm censoring
You've
myself.
You've misquoted RuPaul.
RuPaul, I believe it's pronounced.
Whoa. Whoa. Anyway, so
exactly.
Now
so
I'm
that's
signed
lovely.
with the UK agency, but I am still self-producing this tour in Australia because they don't produce here, and then they will produce me for Edinburgh. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm just, again, like hustle bustling. I'm in really manageable venue sizes, but that's where I'm saying sometimes my frustration comes into play. Like, well, how do I get these opportunities? When do I go to the next level? What do these people want? And I have to realize, I can only do what I can do. That will come or it won't come, Yeah,
the controllables and the uncontrollables. Yeah. What am I in control of, and what is left to fate and the universe?
Yeah, but I'm really pleased with the sketch series. Like, we're now going to try and find completion funding for that because it's not finished, and we don't have any money for it. Yeah, it does cost. It costs. There's so much more that goes into these things than I could ever have imagined, and that's also why I wanted to start doing behind the scenes stuff for YouTube, because I feel like there's a lot of secrecy and there's a lot of hush hush around things and how they get made and who gave you money and where did you get the money from and who gave you the opportunity
and how much does it cost?
Yeah, how much does it cost? How did you do it? And I'm not someone who's people say, well, you seem like somebody who's from high society. I'm not.
It's because of those gold rings. The big medallion that you have swinging from your neck.
I'm going to start wearing a gold medallion that says #1 bitch on it. And then Eloise will start crying. And we'll see her shatter.
Yeah, let's start some feuds on this podcast,
I've
please.
Got a feud, with you.
I would like some feud because it's almost it's past
I'm actually
lunchtime.
Hungry too.
Yeah. I want to start tying a bow in this episode.
Please.
And one of them pertains to what you're just saying about how flippant people are. You'll hear on all sorts of things, especially like big name actors will be on a podcast like Smartless. I shouldn't be shouting out other podcasts.
It's actually a fantastic podcast.
It is a fun podcast.
It's really good.
But also
and it's
they're
very
terrible
funny.
interviewers.
Well, they do let people sort of get to the end.
They did not. How dare you? Okay, I love you.
What was the bow?
Oh, you don't want to say it back?
I want you to finish your first thought. And then
I wanted to confront you by saying I love you and then see if you said it back.
I don't feel confronted.
Okay. The bow is how I haven't got to the bow yet because I want to finish off this point, which is there'll be flippant big name actors who go, these days you can just pick up your phone and anyone can just film a movie. Like, well, it's actually not as straightforward as that.
Oh, yeah, shut up.
Yeah. And also I do that and it would be the most dog shit movie you've ever seen. Not everything's going to be Tangerine. This was filmed on an iPhone and went to Cannes or whatever.
Yeah, and it was probably filmed on an iPhone by a guy who's also shot on RE59s that are like $1 million cameras, and he knows all this. Like, it's not just filmed by Butch who lives down the road.
Having said that, adding to the bow at the end of like wanting to be brave enough to be rejected and put stuff out online. Look at us coming back to the beginning, is a willingness to go, this thing isn't going to be brilliant, but because there is a whole world out there that we still do have access to, what are we in control of? Well, we have the internet where we can put things out there that might be imperfect, but can still reach hundreds, if not 101s of people, and being brave enough to put some dog shit on the internet because some people are into that sort of thing.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really not that deep.
Yeah, because when I see your stuff, I go, wow, she makes a lot of duck shit.
And that's what I'm going for, because I just want people to come and be like, wow, she's down to earth.
Yeah. That's where the poop is.
Yeah. Great.
Do you think that anything... Oh, yeah, tell people where you're performing so they can come see you and check out your stuff.
You can find everything that you need on my social media, but if you're not a social media person... Linktree, The Kate Dolan Show, my website, katedolan.comedy.com. I post most of my local shows on socials. All the tour stuff is on my website and stuff. I'm on the internet. Honestly, if you are on the internet, you can find me. I'm findable. I'm reachable.
I'm not Googling you right now.
You know,
I'm getting an error. I'm getting an error message.
And my podcast is with Danielle Walker.
Previous guest, friend of the pod.
At the moment, it's called Becoming Best Friends, but we might be rebranding for season 2. So just maybe search our names in that instance. I love you. Please come to the show. It's going to be so fun and funny. I did a trial of it for Sydney Fringe and the crowd went wild. So
it looks silly.
It is silly. It's super silly. It's super fun.
What should we call this episode?
Rejection therapy.
That'll be good. It's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate.
Love you.
Love you. This was fun.
We had a